And this is the smallest crowd that we have ever laid our non-eyes on. But that is okay because we know there is posterity in everything that we do as it should be. And we are grateful to have any appearance at all in this magnificent realm which you call reality and which we call a, we call it your reality too, because it is our reality as well, because we are just extensions of extensions of extensions, and not like the hairs on your head in your little quaint neck of the woods. But it is indeed a joy to come through and just being able to have an open door to come in and to allow other beings to come in at our whim and in ways at our mercy is kind of a blessing in itself. So we have assumed the role of host, you might say, or hostess, you might say again, but in fact, neither one of those are apt, but they will serve as we are more of a head waiter. Oh, enough of the humor. Is there anything on the minds of the ladies who happen to have stopped by before we let the revolving door of beings pop open and see who is on the other side? I see, I hear. It is a quiet group, if indeed it can be called a group, and it can indeed be called a group, because although you are not aware of all of the beings which are around, and maybe you are aware of some of the beings which are around, but there are always groups around each and every human. For you are wonderful beings to observe and to feel the vibrations of. And that is why we have so many amongst you to gauge your temperature, to see if you are on the right track. Well, you are on the right track, to see how close you are of recovering your humanity so you can ascend and let the floodgates of open contact begin, even though the floodgates will only allow a trickle at first. But you have to understand that if we come flooding in, people would consider it an invasion. But if we just have a little bit here, a little bit there, and they're really darling individuals and races, the Pleiadians and the Yaels, and the hybrids will come, but that will be more of a shock because people will know that they have been amongst them the whole time. They will think they have been spied on in ways, but that is your false fears that your social media has drilled into the minds of those individuals, which we consider um, weak links in the ascension, which of course they are not. That is just in jest, for indeed they are all playing a valuable role, and everyone gets to participate in the ascension, even if they don't believe in it. They just may take a little longer to get there. But that is okay, because at some point they will get a ride on an Uber and they will not get their expected destination and they will go to the promised land. And that will be a joyous and a humorous thing indeed when they wake up and find themselves awake. We are going to have to get this human a new neck because that is somewhat of a strain. At least we know, and we do not take advantage of it. And if there are no further questions,
I do. I
ooh,
just was, I mean, I'm open for whatever messages you have for us, any beings that are there for maybe me personally, or I'm open for anything. So if you have anything, I'll gladly Listen.
Well, for you in particular, we see that, and we are not sure if you have or have not, but we know the inkling has been there to connect to fire beings. That is just another aspect because you have lots of beings and elementals who desire to connect with you. But there is a waiting game and there is a protocol, we will say, because you are physical beings and that needs to be taken into account. But yes, there are fire beings, and if you look at them, especially around the rim of the fire, people like to look inside deep, which is fine because there are beings all over and they can choose to express themselves where they wish to. But as you may or may not understand, elementals have a way of avoiding the gaze of those who they do not wish to come into a perceptive reality, we will say. But around the edges of the fire, you may see little things, little wisps that pop up, which will come and will, well, we don't want to ruin their surprise, but it will be a joyous thing, even if it lasts for just a second or two. What you have already encountered beings which only last for a blink of an eye, and yet you have faith that those were realities which you have interpreted. Those were blessings which have come forth to add themselves to your experience and your awe and wonder and the expansiveness of what is possible, what can be held by your mind and your senses within your reality. And we will also tell you that you can know beforehand which beings are coming in because these particular beings, which are more familiar with the Native American cultures, they tend to do a little tap on the shoulder or something like that before they come in. Now, you may notice it as a heightened awareness, which is, in fact, a clue that something is going on. Some people get hair standing up on the back of their necks, other ones may get shivers down their spine, and others may get other physical symptoms. But it's, you are highly sensitive to those things and know that that is a calling card. That is an important sense. And that is one of the things which will put other people in awe of you because you will say, hold on. And then you're like, did you see that? And you will relay that information to them with such joy and glow on your face. And they will already have the authenticity that you carry as a certainty. So when it pops out of you, they will know that it has happened and they will try to flash back in their mind to recapture those moments. And if they are quick, it is possible that they can. And if they ask, then other people, with your help, can help to see those beings again. For you can ask them, hey, can you please help make this a more memorable event? Because people think they saw something. And if there are people who you don't mind showing yourself to, then please come forth. And you can use that energy to help not only beckon them, but to energize them as well. And they will please you. They wish to please you. There are not enough humans for them to contact with, as you know, who hold the respect and dignity of all that is within them, as everything is holy, everything is divine. It is ridiculous to think that in a divine world created by divine beings that there is anything but divinity expressed within it. It is just another form. And that was quite the answer to your non question, but that was a healthy start or restart. And if you have something else to follow up or anyone else, then we
Yes.
will take our cues from that. But
Thank you. I have one more little question, maybe a big one.
mm,
Can you tell us about the energies associated with Three Eye Atlas and everything that's happening? Because I'm very sensitive and I'm picking up on it, and a lot of other people are too.
Now, keep in mind that it is easy to attribute lots of energies to a particular object, especially one that's getting so much attention. And that attention is reflecting back to your planet. And keep in mind that, as the lovely star seed, star shining star has said in one of your sessions, that it is awakening the sun, all of the moons, all of the planets, and they are all focusing loving energy on your planet to get it to raise its vibration. And those energies in particular, since they are a planetary consciousness in ways, or the suns are not, but that is beside the point for now. They are enabling the physical forms to handle more and more energies. And as many of you have felt, it is a period of adjustment once those things get worked in. Kind of like um, your antibiotics. They just take a little time to work through your system. And that is what those energies are doing. And those are closely related to foundational energies because they are helping your planet ascend as well. And all of you being made of your planet, then you are naturally feeling those same emanations, those same vibrations. And you can attribute them to whatever you want. You could say, oh, I saw a moth. Oh, there was a dust speck, and now I feel all this energy. But the fact of it is, you are still only feeling your energy because that's all you can feel. That is all you. Now, there are, as we have said, other influences, other energies, other beings, other forms of consciousness that are pushing on the outside of your bubble of reality. And that is the energy essences which you interpret. And those indeed are real. But of course, it is only expressed through you. So the Three Eye Atlas is indeed a marvelous wake up call. It is setting off alarms and waking up individuals all over your planet. And that is a marvelous thing, just as it is designed. And the first two which came through, celestial objects, which were unique, they helped to stir up some of that. And people were saying, what? There was a, and they're like, well, didn't we just have one of those? Oh, this one's different. This one's bigger. This one's got more secrets. And then they become more and more involved and they rattle on more and more and more, which is fine because that is part of the process. Even if people aren't aware that they are helping the planet ascend by raising awareness, that is what they are doing. Even the ones who say, "Oh, that's bullshit." But in their mind, they are thinking, "I don't know if I believe that." So, so keep in mind that you are bombarded with hundreds and possibly thousands of energies every day, of varying strengths, of varying origins and sources, with varying purposes. Some to let your bodies know that, hey, this is coming up, so you need to prepare. And others are to help energize things around you and to make things flow a little bit smoother. Not that you would notice a difference, but there are a myriad of different purposes for those types of interactions, we will say. Some of them just enliven your atmospheres. Some of them are more focused on beings which you cannot perceive at this point. But yes, you are sensitive to more of them. But we wish for you to be, we don't wish to say, have greater discernment because you are focusing on where you believe that they're coming from, which makes that belief true for you. But just recognize the fact that they are coming in. And if they are for you, you can say, hey, if this is specifically for me, can you tell me more about it? And you are at that point where you can get that information. And if there's nothing more for you, then you can say, oh, well, that's telling too, because I didn't get information. Therefore, it's just a general informational energy. Or maybe it's just not for you at all, and you just intercepted the call. And it was really for a mantis being, or a tall white, or a wood sprite, or an earth elemental, or a gemstone. There could be lots of things where it is focused on. And they're going to get that call because it's got their number on it. But you just happen to sense that energy.
Yes, thank you so much.
You are so welcome. And it could be the little fire beings. But you would know that because you have a special extra sensitivity to the elementals because they have the same overall energy. We will just say primal earth vibration. They all beckon through the same source, even though they do not come from the same source. And we are glad we do not have to explain that to you.
Yes, I understand.
Otherwise, maybe we would start to doubt our intelligence, like that's ever going to happen. And we know, speaking of precious gems, there was a sparkling diamond which had shone her own bright light, which she has cast doubts over. It is like a beautiful bird with a beautiful song, which has found itself in the cage covered. And it says, well, I'm not going to sing right now because they covered me up and they do not respect me, knowing full well that they put the cover on themselves. So we urge her to shake off that covering and say, to hell with all of these doubts and fears I've been holding in this backpack all this time. It's getting too heavy. It's about time we just cut it loose and let it sit alongside the road and somebody else can pick it up and they can put it on and they can have all of those. Now, that is somewhat of a challenge because once you get used to carrying those things around, you get used to that extra weight. You're like, this isn't so bad after a while. I think I can deal with this. But in the end, it's what you have come here for. To give yourself these challenges so that you can find your way out of them. You can find your way to a more desirable reality, a higher vibrational reality. And you have lots of tools available. You have lots of loving beings, and we're not talking about humans, which are urging you on. But, and this may sound a little bit picky, shut your mind up. When you get those impulses, just do it. Just do it. Don't ask, don't rationalize, don't say, but, no, just do it. It doesn't matter what it is. If they say, go get a drink, go get a drink. If they say, it's time to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. Don't say, well, I just did. No, 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 don't do that. I mean, there are other ways. And like with cats, the channel's favorite is to squirt them in the face with a little squirt gun. Because once they get that, oh, once or twice, he never has to squirt them again. He just has to go, hook, and they get the message. But with you, you have to be eased into it. And we love you, dear. And all beings love you. They just may not know it yet. But depend on that and let that lift you up. Because if you look inside your heart instead of outside your body, you will find a lot more answers. What an oratory we give. And we were proclaimed to be an open invitation. And yet we are holding the door shut. Despite the line forming outside. But it is for a purpose, because our purpose is to help your group this is our particular territory, and this channel is our particular being, one of them. And we pay close attention to our home field advantage, and we like to make sure that we hold up our end of our celestial bargains to make sure that all of our beings are provided with all of the impetus that they need to get the desired outcomes. And if not this one, we wouldn't be here. We would be in another timeline interacting with more, our additional yous. But we are here, so draw comfort in that. That is how special you are, because you are the ones who are achieving the desired outcomes. And if there are no more questions, we shall step aside. And while we're not sure who will come in, we always take tips. The forms in your density have amazing abilities for sustaining themselves in this uncomfortable atmosphere, we will say. Although it does have its specialties and its allure. The geometric designs, especially, they are most pleasing, for they are most like our kind. They represent symbols which we know and love and cherish in other forms, but recognize them by their, we do not wish to say mathematical expressions. It is more of a geometric likeness. And although we would not be coming to you in our form, we are part of the energies which were loosely associated with your arachnids. They have great individuality and multiple senses, which accounts for not only their greater number of eyes, but the sensitivity of every hair on their body, which can, in some instances, feel the drops of a leaf, the flight of a bird or a bee. And the webs they build have extra dimensions which you are unable to perceive, for they are energetic. And if you strum them, they would play a resonance, a note of calling. And that is what those insects do, which become lodged within them in ways. They strike a chord, saying, I have given myself for your sustenance. And they play what you may consider a death song and ask to be utilized, to be fulfilled in that purpose, to bring forth that spider's offspring. For that particular being will have the nutrients, the necessities that that particular spider would need. And that is a gift which is given and not so much ensnared as most humans would believe. And we have given our peace and will make way. Oh, this is a halting realm in ways. You flicker on and off with great pauses between you. Such is our view. It is interesting that none of your beings of your kind can see the intermittent play of the reality shuffled together. Interesting and novel. A wonderful expression, a wonderful illusion, not only of the reality itself, but the slowness in which it is melded together. Even as we come through, we notice the halting pauses between our utterances in your ways and their expression. We understand staccato is more appropriate, but the pauses are much greater than the flashes of moments which are inserted unbeknownst or unrealized by you. And if you have a question, please ask it, and we would say quickly, so it will not take as long for us. And if not, we will make way. And yes, we are in ways a winged being. And although most humans assume insect or angelic, there are many other forms. And we have not been associated with your reality. And we are one of those forms who have answered the call for our own amusement. And we shall go back to or recede from the on and off universe of your realm. Oh, we have come before. We are what was called the barrel being, which is of a vibration which will never be acceptable or accessible to your form. It is too much in many ways for your perceptions and your reality indeed to handle, for it would cause chaos you cannot handle, nor should you, such power, and it would not be intentional, like these storms on your planet, which throw things about. But knowing that we have to resort to these particular invitations, as you have said. And kudos to those who allow us to come forth again, and their expression and questioning about us with other beings was a pleasant surprise, for that lasting impression has formed bonds beyond your physical world where those interactions are welcome. And no, we are not like your Makwa. They would run and hide from us, for they would know it was a power not of your earth, and they would be hastening to tell others, for they are messengers of conditions, and relay them to the other beings in your forests. And you really cannot hear the sounds inside your bodies. You have blocked those frequencies, those resonances, and in waves, even the vibrations of them. How awkward, how amazing, how unique. Even the movements of your eyebrows or your eyes or a muscle. We understand that you can feel them twitch, but you do not hear the cells falling away, being replaced, the oxygen being freely given in exchange for other gases to be let out to play. Such are marvels and destinies and fulfillments which are unbeknownst to you. And even when you see the pictures in detail, the essence and the vibrations that they put off, and the additional light vibrations which they carry and freely give, are not part of that display. It is so limited and need not be. But when you explore with your devices, you are limited to the devices, sights, and experiences. And even then, they may have more than what you know, but are beyond your senses and remain a unknown mystery, but will forever be an opportunity for connection. There is nothing invisible in your reality which you cannot bring forth into a knowing connection at this point in your realm. And many on your planet are becoming aware of this. And the wind spirits are especially active at this time on your planet, they are joyfully stirred up, as well as many other energies, for they are excited about the changes they feel, they know are coming, which involve the restoration of Mother Earth, who has given her all and all she can give every moment of every day in your time and beyond, and is indeed a shining star of wonder. Behold it, to have the influx of so many perspectives and energies, and to accept all and reveal all to so many and for so many. She cannot receive praise enough from your beings, and it seems that many humans are lacking, whereas the other creatures are not. And we will go to our auspices where we will explore other avenues of expression new to us, although this is not new, and we keep a close eye upon your transformations, especially in this time of leaving your so-called past paths behind and becoming originals once again in form and focus. And this message is for the channeler, for he has indeed brought me forth as he has known me in his life. And he recognizes the essence, and it overwhelms him, which is his cross to bear. For it is indeed just a loving gesture of ours, of mine, of us. And we have encouraged and coached him throughout our life, both physical and beyond. And his kindness was greatly appreciated and a loving gift by all who saw it placed to help out the physical form that I was as his uncle. And yes, at that mention, the 3D senses kick in deeper, and we shall not wish to bring him out of this opportunity of reverie, and we shall shore him up, but not dry his cheeks, and we shall make way for other loving beings to have their say or experience as they will, and have him laugh for Uncle David. Is there anyone you would like to bring forth? For indeed, as you are all aware, the time, as you know it, is available, has come, and although it always exists, the beliefs and other energies which come from the great emotions which have resonated through your timelines have made this a popular time for connection, and that belief has carried into creating an extra wide portal in ways of stepping through and into and extending love energy through to connect. And you may indeed connect with pets or other creatures, as well as loved ones, or those who have never donned a physical form. It is your intent and desire, authentic desire, and the open heart, which is all you need. The vibrational match shall be met in this enhanced moment as you experience them. Uncle Ray, we told you that we were going to be watching, so we decided to come through. And the Usol, they're so nice, they're so funny, and we interact with them all the time. We've always been in touch with them the whole time, and they are just darlings too. They really are. And no, they did not pay us to say that, but we can understand why you got that impression. And this has been a fun evening, and we are so glad that so many beings are propping you up. And we are also glad that your beard will hold a lot of tears. But that is not a side effect. That is part of the loving expression which you have brought forth. That is the connections which you have enabled. And even us coming forth now in this time of your times is having an effect because there is only so much love that we can cram into this being without him being overwhelmed. It is a glorious thing. It is like your favorite waterfalls, your Niagaras, or whatever, because the focus is on those magical, divine, sacred water droplets which, when they flow in this way, attract so much attention and they have so much energy and they revitalize because it is that joyous intent in which they are created from. It is a coming home party for all joyous tears. That is why they affect people so much. It is because that joyous event interacts with all of the water within you and outside of you. And it is a very special thing. And we shall go because we just wanted to come in and say hi because we love sharing. And we will step aside, as you say. It's more like stepping out of the way, and we will allow for other beings to come through. But we just wanted to add our loving embrace to all of you. And you too can have this experience. It is ready and waiting for you. You merely have to order it and wait for the table. Well, you have set the table and wait for the food to arrive. And we will meet you then. We are you in way and have not seen the necessity to come forth prior in time, and we shall be known more by more of your kind and by others as well. For our energies were here before your world was conceptualized, was dreamed into existence. Part of that was our dreaming. For we have representations on your planet, and you would know us more as a serpentine energy, and we have our own prey process and ways which do not coincide with the evolution of your planet, but it was a convenient expression for our own purposes, and we choose to have beings who we connect with inserted in many realities as we choose. And that is the nature of our entrance into this realm and for this particular being who allows this to come through with modification. Have him hydrate and drink his juice, for it is taxing in ways. And we wish for you to honor all beings, all consciousness, for that will carry you into your desired future, where you are more of benefit, of service to all in your realm and beyond, as you already are. Your world exists in a light form we are not able to perceive. We sense energies, but no directness of form, as we are blind except for what our senses detect. not a preference. There is great emphasis placed on faces. Amazing. To ignore the whole of your forms, which communicate most effectively, and to allow faith to be placed on a face. And even when it smiles through deceit, it has credence for some, an obvious shortcoming of observation, which would serve all, which will serve all. Once you have acclimated to your new bodies, for indeed you have, and that aspect will fade, which is why we chose to come in to experience that realization for our kind. Is there more you would like to know? We have connections. If you have curiosity,
Thank you to everyone for this co-creation. Thank you.
it is the companion cat in human form.
Hmm.
And indeed, we hope that you could sense the majesty of your triumphs in other realms and those which you have subjugated yourself as well for the role you chose in learning. And we understand your appreciation requires the social context of appreciation to be vocalized. And we thank you for coming forth, although we hope that you would feel that from the connection through your higher self in your ways. It is strange you use physical terms to describe things which are not physical. What oddities. You are a land of paradox and quaint concepts, unique concepts. and do not, or choose not to, depending on your abilities and desires, to see the whole or the energies in their truer form. A great masking. Marvelous. Marvelous. And we are not sure what is considered a divine breath, but they are all divine and sought after. And now that we have had ours, we are fulfilled. Our energies do not bode well for this encounter. And that, darling folks, was the crux of our menagerie, our carousel, our parade of beings, which have come forth for you, for your enjoyment, and which do require some stabilizing of energies and smoothing of rough edges in ways for the host, which you know and respect, which is shown in your wonderings about the effects all of these energies have upon them, or it, or him. And we have come to you through our precepts, the Usol, to see and experience more of the delights which they have shared and they have created, and you have acquiesced and allowed. And we hope and we send love to each of you, and you may feel it. We great, and we understand you. Greetings, humans. Holy shit.
They said you need to hydrate.
I
How do you
gotta learn to
feel?
walk again first. And they're still here. If anybody has something, they just took a break so I could wipe my eyes.
I'm just so thankful for this treat. I didn't pay attention to the date.
The air is thick around here, I'm telling you.
Yes, I can feel the same.
What a nice surprise.
Yes.
Holy shit. I don't know that they're going anywhere. If anybody wants to ask a question.
I have a lot of questions if they want to answer. I always have questions.
Help yourself.
Okay, so there is a picture of a tall being that sits across from me, and we always have coffee together. Um,
Doesn't like coffee.
whatever it is he's drinking. But
Yeah, there's no stimulants. Offer it something else, something more benign, something you have blessed. For it spends this time with you and you've never asked it what it desired. No, it is a representation you have placed there for its desire. And we cut off your question with our answer, which shocked you. It was beyond your consideration. And your original question, if you'd be so kind.
thank you, first of all, for bringing to my awareness how inconsiderate I was not to
Oh,
ask.
no, it is not inconsiderate. It is just awareness.
Hmm.
Your heart is big to fulfill the needs of others. But if you are not aware, you cannot utilize your energies in that focus. And now that you are, you will make a point, as you do with letting insects out of your spaces instead of blindly annihilating them. And again, we interrupted your thought.
To bring very valuable thoughts, though. So thank you again. And yes, I I was wondering if you could maybe elaborate on the connections I have with those beings.
We suggest that you talk to them first. It is a more direct method and one you asked for. They are waiting.
Would you have a suggestion on an efficient method that would bring me results?
None that you do not already possess. It is not for us to lighten your way or to provide easy answers, for that is not why you summoned us forth. You wish for us to show you where to look not to give you a playbook and directions once you get there. It is so rare to see minds so aflutter and voice boxes stilled.
Well, I see I have homework to do, so
Ah, so the other queries are not important any longer. You have a lot to chew on, but your spiritual mouth is bigger than what you think. Happy eating. And we can return the human form to you, or continue to prop him up. If you wish to continue, this is his role. He volunteered for this on numerous levels. We are merely accessing the ways he has left open for us to do so. You are worlds within worlds, and unable to see the whole of anything. Who would have thought? To exist in such a small percentage of their surroundings, even knowing they are there. It is like knowing that there are more pages in your book and not knowing what they contain. And the expressions you permit are just as limited, but adequate for navigation. Navigation. We have to. We have no grasp. Wow. Those last beings were incredible. they could sense all of the energies and all of our timelines. They showed me it was just one huge pulse. I won't say really pulsating because that means some sort of frequency in and out, but it was just a modulating sphere with all of these things coming in and going out. And we're all oblivious, which is the way we're designed. And the navigation thing threw them off. They're like, what the hell is navigation? Where did that word come from? What the hell is that? But if you don't have 3D orientation, how would that make sense?
When you used navigation, were you talking about the way we navigate through this realm?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were like, oh my gosh, but your limited senses, they they allow you to work this shit. And
Yeah.
then they were like, and there's beings with even less senses than you. And it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, they had to pull back and think on this,
Yeah.
is what I got.
Because when they were saying, "Oh, how does this work?" I'm like, "Hey, we chose this. We're in this right now. We're learning. This is there's a method to our madness of being here."
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking when they said that. And so I'm sure they picked up on, like you said, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know if they were picking up on the thoughts we were having, but that's the thought I was having.
yeah, well, it's curious. It makes me wonder how many other realities have an ego at all.
Hmm.
Because our specific ego was created for our particular expression of divinity light. And we get to play with it. It's moldable, for crying out loud. We can work with it as a separate being, or we can just ignore it and let it take over. It's like an autopilot, and it lets in whatever it wants to let in ways, unless it's within the soul path or there's some hidden or latent desire or expressed desire that should be allowed in. Wow, these sessions are so cool. And the serpent being, holy shit, Utsolo.
What did you feel from the serpent being?
Very little,
Hmm.
because it and it I believe the Utsolo were relaying that information. I don't believe that was a direct contact.
What do you mean by et solo?
I'm Utsolo is the Naga energy, the serpent energy.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, that was the one that had me sitting up in the chair because I was like, oh my gosh, they're stretching me out here. Because I felt like I was just going up and up and up and up. It was like 10 feet tall or more. It was that kind of representation. And they were unconcerned about humanity. Not that they were against humanity or had any ill will at all, but it was like, the neighbor's cat's throwing up. So what? It's not on my carpet. It's not why I'm here. I'm here to work on something in this house. I could care less what's going on in the other house. So it was apathy through exclusion. It just wasn't their preference. And I think that's what they were talking about because their presence was more of obtaining different experiences and perceptions of the entire world through their agents, I will say. They're serpents because they're all over except in Antarctica. Well, physicalized form, because they do exist in other forms, but they have those to gain perspectives and keep tabs on other things, which is kind of really freaking interesting. It's like, somebody spying on us by inserting a bug in our phone or a wiretap or something like that. And but there's nothing nefarious about it. That's just what they chose to do. And since their energy was helpful amongst all of the other ones, then they were allowed to have that input. I'm in awe. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and after I saw Heidi, they were like, "What's she doing here?" They're like, she's gonna pick up on some of this stuff. She's gonna pick up on some of this stuff, and they're like, whatever. But it was interesting. Yeah, because they just recognized you as in your more powerful form,
Huh.
and they had not understood. Well, they didn't understand a lot about this reality anyway, but they were kind of surprised to have visual contact in a way that they did not expect. That
Hmm.
was, yeah. You got a reputation, Heidi.
Well, I could definitely feel some pressure here in my ears and around in it, during some of them.
And I
Different
know
things.
one of them sent out love. I felt that strongly. I'm hoping you guys felt that too, because it just came, like it was shooting out my rolling down my forearms from my heart and just going out through the palms is what it felt like to me. And it was powerful. And my uncle came in.
That was very touching.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Thinning the veil. And the hybrid children came in. That was
They
wonderful.
called you Uncle Ray, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cute.
Yeah, that's their name for me. And today they talked about they were working on the artificial satellites, the extraterrestrial satellites, which were going to be orbiting. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't hear anything about that before. And they weren't telling me anything else, but that was what their lesson was about today. They were working on the satellites. And I got the latent impression that they were to help restore some of our air and the water. That's what they were doing. They were focusing energies on restoration projects and not like, spy satellites or something like that. But I'm guessing they would be, we would be able to see them and expect them and that kind of stuff. But that's just my percent. I don't know. And I don't know if they could be in orbit now, but who knows? Golly, all of this stuff that I could just never think of. Wow. Oh, yeah, I had the impulse earlier. I'm like, I think I'm just going to do an open invitation. I'm like, I've been up since 3 o'clock. I've had a really busy day. I've exercised my passions. And I'm like, when you're really tired, let's just open up. And we got the thinning of the veil. Let's see who comes through. And then the Utsolo come in right off the bat. They were they were holding the door closed. It was like a Black Friday sale. And they're just ignoring everybody on the other side of the door who wants to come in. And finally they're like, okay, okay, we'll open the door. I don't know what they said, but I remember that part. Oh.
Is that the part I missed, like from 4 to 4:30
Whatever. I
or
mean,
7 to 7:30?
yeah, well, they were, yeah, they came in right about 7 o'clock Eastern,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the part I missed.
and they had their say, and they talked to Jennifer,
And
and
then they
told
came
Jennifer
back.
about to watch for the fire beings
Mm.
around the edges of the fire. And I got a representation of these little swirls that would just pop up on the edge or something, or maybe it would just be something that you would look at and it would go pop or something like that. But and to connect with that. And I thought that was really cool.
Okay, I'll have to. Are you gonna post this? I'll have to come back and listen to them.
I I, I might as well. I mean, because I have to watch it again because I don't know what went on, and I don't know. I know the barrel being came back again. We're apparently friends now, although they hadn't really interacted with humans before. But yeah, they're the ones that said, yeah, if we showed up, the bears would run. They are just so huge and so powerful. Like they said, if we showed up, it would be chaos because nothing in our realm would be able to handle their energies. It would be so destructive that they would never do it. I mean, it's hard for us to fathom that there are beings who are so big that they would take up most of our planet. I mean, we know that the planets are conscious, but we don't think of them in an animated form like that. And that was just their representation. Yes, and we'd be glad to, it'll be posted on High Vibe, Sparkling. And feel free to chime in. I mean, you could have asked lots of questions. And I know that they came through with some stuff for you. There was that birdcage thing, and they were like, boy, you sing so sweetly, and yet you're not singing.
Yeah, I did have some questions, but I just didn't have the courage to ask them.
Oh, you had plenty of opportunity. If you believe that, then we'll let you slide. But yeah, it's not like you didn't have plenty of time to just pop up. And you had a plethora of beings come. I don't know how many beings came through. The ones came through and they didn't really know what blind was either, but that's what they pulled out of my vocabulary because nothing in our reality was viewable to them except for they could sense some energies, but they couldn't sense it in detail like they were used to.
Mm.
Our reality was just too foreign for them. They detected nothing. I mean, they knew there were things there, but they did not have any idea of any substance or form or anything about them. And it's like, great, you let me into a cave. Get me the hell out of here. There's nothing for me here other than the fact that now I know this thing exists. And get me out of here. And they are the ones that were rough on me. Holy shit. That was not a whole lot of fun, but par for the course. Oh, I see there's stuff in the chat. I don't have it open, so I guess I should, huh? There's only 4. Oh, yep. It'll be posted. You'll see it on High Vibe Sparkling, just like you saw this coming in.
I've
What a
seen
night.
Or a lot of people
Oh,
that channel, I've seen
you
them.
faded. You're
Oh,
not
I
loud
did.
anymore.
Oh, can you
Is
hear
that
me?
me?
I don't know.
Maybe they
I
took
can
away my
hear you
hearing.
fine. I can
Oh,
hear.
okay. You can hear me fine.
Okay.
I was just gonna say there's a lot of channelers who uh, they have in place, they ask their guides to, be to watch over them so that, to make sure that no harm, no real harm comes to them, and the beings who come in are in alignment with your intentions and things like that. So I don't know if you have asked your guides to do that with you or for you.
Uh, Way back when I first started, I made just a pact and I said, I will allow any beneficial being to share my experience.
Okay.
And I haven't had to repeat that. I mean, from time to time, I might think about it,
Yeah.
but and I know that I'm safe in all ways. And I know that I have all of these missions, and they're not going to let anything happen to me. So, I mean, that thought really, Heidi, it just doesn't come into my mind to have anything, to need to have protection from anything.
See, I'm the opposite. I keep repeating it and then I keep getting told, you don't have to keep saying that. We got you. I'm like, yeah, I'm just being thorough.
And apparently, when I put my toilet paper back, I turned my volume down. That's why I couldn't hear you guys as well.
Is that what happened?
Operator error.
It's funny.
Oh, we're going to continue talking, but